Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. William Taylor Jr. All right, drop some bombs, brother.
Thanks for having me. I'm gonna start off with some poems from my latest book, Broken When We Got Here, published by some crazy guy named Wolf. And this is called When We Try and Do Something Beautiful. I guess maybe when we try and do something beautiful, it's a lot like being lost somewhere on an endless ocean of dark, holding a fading sparkler. It won't last very long. Maybe nobody else can even see. But that doesn't mean it isn't pretty. This is called Cassette Tapes. I was young, but old enough to know I wouldn't always be. And it was, say, a Sunday night in Bakersfield, late summertime. My old Datsun parked in a Safeway or some other place the cops didn't go. And I was maybe with a friend, and there was music. There was always music. Cassette tapes playing from a portable thing tossed in the back. And we had a 6 or a 12-pack of something. We listened and we drank and we sang. We talked a bit now and then, usually about a girl. There was always a girl. And outside, the darkness was a palpable thing, but the darkness could go to hell. Because we had the drink and the music. We already knew that life wouldn't hold much else for us than this. And that just made us sing all the more. This is called Unsaved. The junkie girl sat down on the sidewalk next to me, and she asked if I was Jesus. And I said, sorry, no. And she said, oh, I thought maybe you were, because your eyes are kind and you have that beard. Then she told me about a comic book she insisted I should read, and she wrote down the title on a little scrap of paper, and she placed it in my hand. And then she stood herself up and left me there, disappearing down some dirty alley off of Market Street. She was a pretty girl and nice, and I was sad to disappoint her. It was August in downtown San Francisco, and the day was short on miracles. This is called A Friendly Note to Myself and Others Who Might Call Themselves Artists. If you don't write that poem today, the grand scale of the world will not sway much in one direction or the other. If you never write another line, the universe and its denizens will remain mostly unshattered. So write the thing or don't. Just don't worry or talk so much about it. Do it because it might make it better for you than they otherwise would be. Just like eating, shitting, or making love, do it because it's a good thing to do, and let that be reward enough. Okay, I'm going to read a few from my book, The Hunger Season, from Sunday Outside Press. It's called All the Nameless Losts. Sometimes the world seems little more than a gradual falling apart, a disintegration in slow motion, and all the good people I know fighting just to find a piece of the world to hold on to, pinned like insects beneath the weight of days past, days yet to come, in this moment now. This moment now. The moon over Phoenix and the moon over San Francisco are one and the same and just as lonely. I have no God, so I offer up my prayers to anyone who will listen. And I imagine this wine not as the blood of Christ, but of all the nameless lost who came before. And tonight these 3 a.m. songs are for you and for me and for anyone else who needs them. tourists get drunk. The tourists get drunk and buy t-shirts and fondle the bones of poets hanging in the windows of North Beach butcher shops. The old and the young alike sit in crowded cafes with funny hats and beards, pretending to be artists and pretending to be alive. As I make my way to the old saloon, where the people there don't pretend to be much of anything, where Bob Dylan plays on the jukebox and the ghost of Phil Oakes cries alone on the corner stool, I join in the bar, waiting for a drink, cigarettes, an earthquake, a pretty girl, something beautiful they forgot to take away, something simple and real enough that doesn't ask too much of you or taste so much like death. This is called Test Subject. It's written about a friend of mine who was a fellow San Francisco poet. And recently, a couple days ago, I saw a little article in the news about a man who was hit by a train and lost part of his leg in Berkeley, and that happened to be my friend Mark. And so this is for Mark, and about Mark. It's called Test Subject. My friend is a poet, which is to say, he is egocentric, half insane, and has no money. And he finds me at the bar, and he drinks and sits down at my table. He sips a bit from a glass of whiskey, and he sets it down hard upon the wood and says, "I've decided, as soon as they finish building that suicide fence on the Golden Gate Bridge, I'm going to be the first to try it out. Either I'll be dead, or at least they'll know the damn thing works." And he laughs and quickly finishes his drink before the bartender has the chance to throw him out for disturbing the paying customers. This is a poem called Angry at the Sun, and about riding buses in San Francisco. I'm in the underground waiting on the in train. And just about everyone is waiting on the in train. And a J comes by, and then a T and a couple of L's, a K and another T, but no sign of an N. And when the second T stops at the station, a woman pounds her fist on the windshield of the train. "No one wants another T," she shouts, pounding her fist on the glass. "No one lives out there. Where's the fucking N?" The driver stares blankly ahead until the train pushes on. The woman turns away in disgust and she meets my eye. "Bureaucrats," she says. "The goddamn bureaucrats will kill us all." And I turn away and shuffle myself deeper into the crowd. Though in theory I agree with her observation, I can't find it in myself to get too worked up about it all. I tend to suffer in silence, as the days are filled with enough noise as it is. And perhaps I'm already defeated, because I expect the trains to be late and overcrowded. And I don't ask much of my fellow man, or the days and the nights upon the earth. I don't believe the wars will stop, no matter how many people walk the streets with cardboard signs. But I want to tell the woman she might as well be angry at the sun, but I don't think she would understand. And the in train finally comes, and I manage to squeeze myself inside. But the angry woman doesn't make it. And I see her face twisted in a mess of rage as the train pulls away into darkness towards some other inconvenience.
Yeah!
It's called The Next Song on the Jukebox. Basically, one of my many hanging out at a bar in San Francisco poems. Trapped somewhere between the ocean and the sky, blown about like bits of leaves and cigarettes. It's useless to ask why we end up where we do. Useless to regret that so shamelessly wasted. It is well to be content in finding a place where time moves slowly for a little while. Happy enough to be spending your last bills on one more drink, knowing the next song on the jukebox will be the one to set you free. It's called My Plastic Heart. I have love for the sun as well as the rain. I am at peace with the light and the dark. I speak in private with the sky. And the night shows me things I promise not to tell. Wasting my hours, dreaming of my wasted hours. Dreaming of everything and everyone I've ever loved. Surrendering nothing to the void. My plastic heart breaks for most anything as it melts in the September sun. The grand and beautiful sadness clings to me like a desperate lover, and I sing with its voice until it is my own. How are we doing on time?
You know what, brother? You got about 2 minutes if you want them.
All right, maybe one more.
All right.
This is an old poem called Bad Night. It was just one of those nights I wandered the streets feeling generally bad, in search of a quiet place to drink beer and listen to sad music on the jukebox. And I found a place that looked okay, and I got a stool and a beer, and things were all right for a little while, till a fellow sat down next to me and started to talk. He was middle-aged and red-faced and looked as if he spent most of his waking hours in bars. I ignored him as best I could until it was finally impossible. "You work at that one place, right?" he said. "The music store?" "Yes," I replied, in a manner meant to suggest I had no desire to discuss the matter any further. "I bet you listen to a lot of music," he said. "I guess so." "What kind of music you listen to?" "I don't know, lots of stuff." "You like the punk rock, the Clash and shit?" "Sure." "You like the Floyd, Led Zeppelin?" "Floyd, yeah. Fuck Zeppelin." "You wear a lot of black. You like Johnny Cash?" "Sure." "What about Elvis?" "Costello?" "No, man, Presley, Elvis, the King." "I don't care about Elvis," I said. "You look like somebody who likes Elvis." "Fuck Elvis." "Like swing dance?" "Oh man, look, no offense, but can we please stop talking now? You can't have a haircut like that and not like Elvis." "I just want to drink my beer. Please go away." "Ah, shit, it's cool, man. I'm just making conversation." "Please stop talking now." And gave me a funny look, as if he had never met anyone in a bar who didn't want to talk to him. Then he got up and walked a few stools down, and he started in with somebody else. And things were okay again, and I was able to finish my beer and order another before someone else sat down beside me, and he started talking as well. I excused myself for a moment, promising to return. And I walked to the back of the bar, and I used the bathroom and slipped out the back door. I picked a direction and walked. You know it's a bad night when you can't even find a bar to be lonely in. All right, thank you.